Today, we're talking about saying no to Shaytan once and for all. Aren't you tired of progressing in deen and dunya, but still having these cracks in your armor? Still having these moments where your nafs still desire and make you do haram habits like watching girls on social media, or maybe it's listening to a few songs every single week. Maybe you have bad habits that you still do, like playing video games, especially like in the weekdays, which is a problem, and even eating unhealthy food. Or maybe you still have this desire for lahu. You still want to waste time, watch Netflix, do these things that you know don't make you happy. You know that sap energy out of you, but you just can't help it. You can't help but accept that you still say yes to Shaytan. You still say yes to your nafs. And it feels like you're moving backwards in the Islamic self-improvement. It feels like you're not progressing in deen and dunya, and you're making a worse life for yourself. And I had this for a long time, especially in December, January of 2025, but I'm on the process of finding a way to fight against this, because I'm also tired of saying yes to Shaytan, even if it's once, saying yes to my nafs, even if it's once. And no matter if we cannot truly get rid of haram, we have to try, ultimately. And I'm going to show you my process, the exact process I'm using to say no to Shaytan once and for all, to say no to my nafs for lahu once and for all. And I'm not going to give you some basic kafir self-improvement advice to better your discipline. I'm going to give you the exact system, the exact protocol that I'm using to make this transformation, to go from yes to Shaytan, yes to my nafs, to no to Shaytan, no to my nafs, completely in the next 10 to 20 minutes. So if you stick with me, I'm going to help you with this transformation, inshallah, and share my process as to how I'm progressing with this. You're one decision away from a better life. Now, what is the decision? It's a very simple decision. The decision that we make to inhibit our life, in this life and the akhirah, is to say yes to Shaytan, to say yes to our nafs. Because how many times, bro? How many more times? How many times do you keep doing it? How many times do you still choose Shaytan? How many times you still know that there's jihad in nafs? You know that you're fighting against this enemy of ours, and you still capitulate. You still do the haram habits. You still do the bad habits. You still have this desire for lahu, and you still do it. Even though you want to fight it, you can't win. Ultimately, it's very annoying. It feels like you're going backwards. And I had an ego complex for so long. I was like, no, bro, I'm already on this grind. I already started saying no to Shaytan. No, bro, that's Shaytan lying to you. If you still have this desire for lahu, if your nafs are not purified to a point where you don't even want to watch it, especially on the weekdays, we're focusing very much on the weekdays right now. If you still want to waste your time, akhi, you're still not there. You still say yes to your nafs, your lower desires. If you still do some type of haram, whether it's haram habits, or maybe you've gotten rid of your haram habits, now you're just doing little harams, maybe it's a moment of backbiting, a moment of staring at a girl too long, that's still the problem. That's still you saying yes to Shaytan. And again, I'm not saying that we're going to get rid of every single haram that exists, because all children of Adam sin. But we need to start fighting actively to say no to Shaytan more, no to your nafs more, so that we can actually progress in deen and dunya. And that's what's inhibiting us from living a better life, ultimately. Because the day we finally say no to Shaytan, no to our nafs, no more lahu, that's the day we have a better life. Because that's the day that all we do in the day is create a better life for ourselves, whether in the deen, or the dunya, or the akhirah. Ultimately, that's what brings happiness. Because I want to ask you, what makes you happy? I'm not going to say what makes you pleasure. No. What makes you happy? Is it not those moments where you're training and the sun rises and you feel like you're proud of yourself? Oh, I did something great. And you're trying to train and be a warrior of Allah. Is it not those moments where you do that work that you told yourself you were going to do, and you're creating cool stuff, and maybe you studied because you got that good grade? Or maybe it's the moments where, especially when you're in your ibadah, when you're finished doing hard worship like fasting, that's when you feel alive. That's what we want for you. That's a better life. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Nothing changes, nothing changes. Rand says this a lot. Seriously, bro. I'm not here to talk about motivation and you should say no to Shaytan, you should say no to lahu and stop. Because I've watched these type of videos. They don't help. They help a little bit. They change my mindset. But how do I say no? What is the process of saying no? Very simple. It's changing your identity. Now the kuffar, this is how discipline works. The kuffar, they use this very complex language where they say you gotta kill your ego or kill your, basically they mean your nafs, right? But we know that our nafs is not something that, like, we have different types of nafs. You only have one. And that nafs is malleable, meaning that we can alter it to what we want it to be. Now ultimately, discipline, or the act of identity change, is simply going to war with your nafs for the dunya. I call it jihad al-nafs ultra, right? Because you're already doing jihad al-nafs for the haram habits, but now you're doing jihad al-nafs for your dunya as well. That's how you do identity change. You simply go to war with your nafs to the point that your nafs capitulate. Because how do you get rid of haram? Think of the thing that you've gotten rid of. How did you get rid of it? You fought and fought and fought and resisted and resisted. Maybe you bought the course and maybe that's how you did it, right? Maybe you did it by yourself. Maybe you watched the guide. I don't know. Because I have lots of free guides also in my 10x Deen and Dunya free course. Ultimately, you work. You deny the desire to the point that your nafs don't really ask for it anymore because they know you're not going to do it. Or when it happens, you easily dispel it. That's what we want with dunya. That's what we want even further. We got to keep maxing this out. That's what we want with lahu. That's what we want with the little remaining haram habits, or the haram that we still do, or the bad habits that we still do. So it's the same concept. It's fighting jihadul nafs for the dunya. So if you just pick two things, one habit in the deen, one habit in the dunya. For me, something that I'm picking in the the dunya, is my discipline of being undisciplined, which is a concept of giving yourself a little bit of time at the end of the day to do whatever you want. Now I'm kind of tired of doing nothing at the end of the day. I want to discipline that over time so that I only do my hobbies at the end of the day, or only spend time with family. I don't do lahu, like waste time on YouTube, right? Because normally back in the day we used to waste time on YouTube the whole day. And then now we squeeze until it's a little part. Now I'm tired of that. Now I want my nafs to bend to what I want it to do, which is not to do that anymore. And you can choose whatever you want, whether it's studying, working, maybe studying for 9 minutes a day. That's the habit you want every single day that you need. And then one for the deen. So for me, I'm choosing salatul qiyam, right? And all you do is you pick those two. If you want to really implement this information better, get a piece of paper, hide it or something if you'd like, and just write Jihadul Nafs Ultra Habit Tracker, right? And you literally track specifically for 66 days. 5 days a week, like you can have a weekend off of this. 5 days a week, you gotta track meticulously to do 66 days of this. If you break it, start the thing again. Because when you do things consistently for 66 days, that's the ultimacy point. It's when a habit becomes easy. It's the moment that your nafs capitulate. So we need to do it consecutively in terms of 5 times a week, every single week for 66 days. You should track that so that we can capitulate our nafs. And that's ultimately how we make this identity change. We ultimately mold our nafs to stop wanting this. Because once you mold the nafs, you get rid of shaitan's influence. Because you know when waswasa comes, you know. But your nafs is something so weird because it feels like it's you. Like for me, I didn't train today because I changed my routine and stuff like that. And the way that I justified it to myself, like you must know, the way that you justify to yourself why you don't do something is so logical. So once you get rid of your nafs, because that's your nafs, that's shaitan whispering to your nafs, it's whispering to you. And once you get rid of that feeling of, fake explanations, it's gone because you capitulated your nafs. Now you can do what you want. And that's ultimately how we make changes in the dunya. You pick one thing for deen, one thing for dunya, do the 66 days. It's the most important thing, by the way. So for me, it's salatul qiyam. For you, let's say you don't pray 5 times a day. That one prayer that you don't do, that's the 66 days that you got to do to get your nafs to capitulate, ultimately. And that's how you win. You just go to war with your nafs actively. You track it, 66 days, beat them. That's it. That's how you change. And you go through this process over and over and over again until you find the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Because saying no to shaitan and no to your nafs is a forever thing. It's like I said, jihad al-nafs is a war you fight forever. A war you fight forever. And if you'd like more information on exactly how you fight jihad al-nafs, especially for the deen, and if you want to fight haram habits, but you don't want to get the Annihilate haram habits course, I also have the 10x deen and dunya course, also free in the description. Ultimately, go to war with your nafs, beat them, do it again. That's how you make the change. That's how you keep making this decision to make your life better. The third thing is the benefits of the choice. So when we say no to shaitan, we say no to our nafs. In turn, what are we saying yes to? In turn, we're saying yes to Allah. Because we're not wasting our time. Because we're not doing haram. Because we're not doing lahu. We'll obviously do more good things like progressing in deen and dunya. We in turn say yes to ourselves. Our higher part of ourselves. The ruh that seeks to know Allah. That higher nafs that wants good things. That wants to be a khalifa. That wants to do right by his duty. To be a deputy on this earth. To achieve not for this dunya just, but to please Allah ultimately. That's who you say yes to. Ultimately, you say yes to the things that actually make you happy. Because it is not the Netflix, and it is not the video games, and it's not the junk food that makes you happy. It's those moments of hard workouts. The moments where you're doing the things that you need to do to achieve the things you want to achieve in progressing in deen and dunya. When you're doing ibadah and you're focused, you're not thinking about other things. When you constantly go to war with your nafs ultra, meaning deen and dunya, That's how you're going to make this choice. You got to keep choosing this over and over again, and that's how you're going to make a better life. Like, again, it's a forever war. But if you keep doing this for 10 years, how many times do you think you're going to get rid of it? How many no's are you going to give? Because it's going to be ultimately your point. And that's ultimately what we want you to do. A program to say no. Mold your nafs to live the life that you want. And that's ultimately what I'm here to give you. So, if you want any extra resources from me, I've mentioned them in here. My free course that I just released, 10x Deen and Dunya, which is all the information and resources that I used to go from starting Islamic self-improvement to 10xing my Deen and Dunya in my time frame so that you can do it in a faster time. And then ultimately, if you want an ultimate solution, you want a complete way, the proven system to annihilate haram habits. That's in the description as well. If you'd like to do something for free to help out with the information, then inshallah you could subscribe, and that'll be very helpful. We're on a mission to annihilate weakness and sin in the males of the Ummah. And jazakallah khair for watching. Inshallah, if you want to check out other videos, I have lots on the channel, my Deen and Dunya trainings, etc. And yeah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.